Welcome to 60 Days Insider. I'm Dan Abrams.
If anybody want to beat my ass, let us go.
Tonight, we're taking an in-depth look at our Phase 2 participants' lives inside the Clark County Jail as they try to survive 60 days in.
Sorry, I'm gonna sleep. Is that right?
No.
The danger is no longer hypothetical at this point. We're gonna fight.
We're here in the studio with Phase 1 participants, Barbra and Tami, who are together for the first time since Season 1. Thank you both for coming in. Have you guys been in touch since Season 1 ended?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
We talk regularly. It's very important for me to have someone in my life who went through a similar experience. So I like to call Barbra as often as I can.
What's it like for each of you, let me start with you, Barbra, watching Season 2 so far?
It's been tough watching Season 2 because it brings me back to my place in jail and going through it those first few weeks and how hard it is and emotional it is, and it gives me chills to watch it, and I'm scared for these participants.
Tami, I heard you talking about the sounds that you remember from the pod.
Yes. Listening to these girls scream is still fresh in my mind because those sounds are something that will never, ever leave me. I just kind of get a chill up my spine saying, yeah, I remember that.
How do you think Season 2 thus far compares to Season 1?
I think Season 2 might be amped up even more than Season 1. It looks like they might have a more difficult time than even I did.
You agree, Tami?
I agree. I mean, it's a younger crowd. It's a younger dynamic than what we had.
Tami, you and SHERI are similar in the sense that neither of you want to put up with a lot from some of the other inmates.
Correct.
Do you see that as well?
I do see that.
If it's about if somebody's hollering, they won't come up here and whoop everybody's ass.
These girls have no respect for themselves, and anything goes in there. And you have to consider the fact that when you're not sleeping, you lose patience very, very quickly. I can certainly understand her frustration and saying, look, basically, all we want is a little time to just rest. And I think that is where a lot of the frustration comes. I almost envy the men in some ways because in their situation, it's much more of a physical thing. It's like, okay, we're angry at each other. We have our physical fight. We're done, we're over with. With women, it's much more of an emotional situation where we're gonna get to you in any way that we can and, you know, just mess with your mind.
Ashleigh, you gonna move in? I might, yeah.
Ashleigh's never been in a facility like this. I'm like, I gotta protect this one.
For the most part, you guys stuck together. How important do you think it is, Tami, for SHERI and Ashleigh to stick together?
I think it's extremely important from Ashleigh's perspective. If she's gonna stay on her path of sobriety, she's gonna need that support. And I think from SHERI's perspective, if she is gonna be someone who is going to want to continue to confront these girls in the pod, she's gonna need an ally.
How hard was it for you, Barbra, to turn a blind eye to the drugs?
It's really hard because you want to step in and say, don't do that, you know, I'll help you, we can change, make your life better, you know, life is so short, if you change, you know, get out of jail and don't come back.
Ashleigh and SHERI had what seemed like a moment of triumph. And then minutes later, it's back to where they were. Were you surprised to see that?
Absolutely not.
I know that feeling all too well.
That same thing happened to you guys?
Time and time
Time
again.
and time again. You call in the COs for help, and they're not there. They don't change the situation. You are literally stuck in there to fend for yourself.
So you guys were not surprised to see those women brought right back in?
Nope.
I can't believe they just got away with that.
They're not accountable for their actions in jail.
Ladies, seriously, I can smell the smoke from here.
We see Ashleigh pointing upstairs to where
Risky.
The women are smoking. Do you think too risky?
Yeah, risky, because you know what? If any of those girls had seen her doing that, I would fear that she would have gotten her butt kicked.
Or if maybe one of her cellmates weren't trustworthy, went upstairs and told him, oh, Ashleigh's been pointing upstairs. Oof.
Risky.
Yeah.
I'm going cell to cell, so you better have the right clothes on when I get there.
What does Ashleigh need to do now, do you think, to be able to survive the rest of the program?
I think that she needs to keep to herself. She needs to rely heavily on her friendship with SHERI. She needs to keep talking to Zach as much as she can and just keep working through your relationship. Like, it is so hard while you're incarcerated to have that marriage and have your family at home away from you, but just keep working through it and you'll get through it.
So, Barbara, what have you been up to since the show aired?
I've made some life choices that I wouldn't have made otherwise.
Tell me about the new life choices you've made.
Well, I'm going into law enforcement.
Become a police officer?
Yep, I've decided that I'm going to become a police officer.
Tami, you're pretty shocked.
I am. Gotta say, it worries me a little bit.
Why?
Just worrying about you and the impact that I know that it has on your family and your children. It's a big decision to make.
What was it about your experience in jail that helped direct you to this path?
It made me realize what is important. I want a meaningful life, and I want to be there to help someone when they call for help. And I just felt like I wasn't leading a meaningful life.
Tami, it sounds like a pretty good reason. Let's talk about Brian for a minute. Eventually, Daffron calls him a bitch, which is a big and meaningful word.
Brian.
Sorry, I'm gonna sleep. Is that right?
No. Based on what you've seen from Brian so far, are you expecting he's out?
I think that Brian wants to go home safe to his family, so I'm gonna predict that he's gonna leave.
Over in C-Pod, we saw a vicious fight. Quentin watching it, having very mixed feelings about what he can and should do. As a police officer yourself, what do you think is going through Quentin's mind?
I know he's fighting every instinct that he has in his body not to get up. And I separate them, or pull one guy off the other, or pull off the aggressor. That is a really difficult position to be placed in. I really feel for him in that particular situation.
It almost seems like jail got real for Dion when he gets woken up with this huge fight going on.
It was unfortunate that he had to see the fight, but I think that it was a good thing he did, because I think it brought him back down to earth and made him realize that this project that you have signed up for is real, it's very dangerous, and you always need to stay on your toes and watch your back. Don't ever feel safe.
Barbara, any concerns for SHERI, Ashleigh, or Mona Lisa?
I really hope that they can sort out the problem with the girls upstairs, and I hope that Ashleigh gets some rest.
What about Ryan, Tami? Too close to the other inmates already?
When you enter into this program, nobody gives you a manual. You kind of have to find your groove, and if somebody's taking you under their wing, sometimes it just happens.